Google Ads is not killing search ads anytime soon, but it is going to kill how you and I work with Google Ads. Search ads was originally built for a world where we have a very simple short query. We have just a list of links or product cards, and it was all pretty simple. The goal used to be that we just create a tight connection between search and ad and landing page, but all that starts to break down when the result becomes more personalized. Today, AI shopping recommendations, I think they're still very, very rough. And even if I give a Gemini a full prompt with, okay, this is the t-shirt I want, the recommendation is still very generic, but I think the direction is very obvious. The more Google understands about the user, the query, the product, the reviews, the pricing, the offers, the brand, the less it makes sense to have just the same static ad that it serves to everyone. And even in a responsive search ad world with 15 headlines, that simply just doesn't make sense. There's millions of personalizations out there, so just have 15 headlines, and I say, I'm sure they do 5. It doesn't make sense. Just having a single shopping title and one image, it's just, we have to be joking here. So providing personalized ads from a static asset library is going to feel primitive next to personalized AI-generated search results. E-commerce and travel will feel this first because product choice has far more personalization or variables than local lead gen. If you're looking for a plumber, it's fairly simple. So the core message with this video and the things I'm going to go through today is not, here's where I think Google Ads is going. No, it's going to be, here's what PPC specialists like you and I will still control, what our value will be when Google writes more of the ads. For Google Ads, this changes how we think about campaign instructions. A lot has been said about removing keywords, but I don't think that's where we're headed, or at least I think it's way too simplistic. Keywords probably stay, but their role changes. So where we today look at keywords in a phrase and broad match and go, okay, with exact, I'm not going that broad, and with broad, I go insanely broad. That's dumb. I've always thought it was dumb. And if you rebuild the Google Ads engine, you wouldn't do that. We only say it's not dumb because we know what exact phrase and broad means, and we don't even know what it means. It would be much better if we just gave it, hey, here's the keywords. And then we told it, I want you to expand. I want you to explore. I want you to find new things, or I want you to hunker down. I want you to get me a higher ROAS. I want us to just stay where we're at, but get better efficiency. That's basically what we're trying to do with exact versus broad. And it's dumb that we're sitting here and saying exact or broad and just makes no sense. So that's just one signal or one input that we are going to give the AI. We're going to give it intent signals, audience context, product data, brand guidelines, bidding instructions, and measurement information from the backend. I think we're much more likely to see the role of ads and campaign structure change radically than to see keywords in its current form change a lot, because I think it's already happening. We've used shopping and dynamic search ads without keywords for many years, and now we're even seeing that AI is actively writing our ads for us. PMax writes the headlines and descriptions. We have guidelines to tell what PMax should do and what it shouldn't do. We have these new PMax implemented shopping titles where it writes there. We have shopping ads where it will dynamically change the ad format from shopping to search to better use case in conversational AI ads. I don't think it's perfect yet, and it's not even close to fully rolled out yet, but I think we're seeing enough movement to start judging where all of this is headed. And I think the more important shift is we should no longer provide these static assets. That's not your strategic value. Your strategic value is the inputs you give the system. If we take an example here where we say your job is not to write popular swim goggles 2026. Your job is to give the system the reasons to write that headline. Who is it for? Why does it matter? What proof supports it? And when should it not be used? Again, I don't think assets and keywords will disappear, but their role will change. Assets become your direction, your angles, your proof points, your constraints for the system. And I still think keywords as like search themes work well, but I will definitely move away from this exact match type micromanagement thing that we're doing today. Now, the biggest mistake I think is going to happen in this is that most of you is going to try to move to this world, and you'll try to cling on to the old way of doing things, which results in you not understanding how to be excellent in this new way of doing Google Ads. Because I think we can learn a lot from smart bidding, because we've basically done this before. People either resisted it until the last minute, or they ended up blindly trusting it. Because we saw two versions of it. Up until 2019, smart bidding was still a bit of a wild card. Sometimes it would work, but most people didn't know how to work it. So they reverted back to manual bidding when things didn't quite go the right way. And today, we see the complete opposite. PPC specialists have become so dependent on smart bidding that they don't even understand how the auction works, which is criminal if you ask me. You can't start to be good at smart bidding if you don't understand how the auction that smart bidding operates in works. And the same thing will be happening to Google Ads as a whole. I think in 5 years, we'll see some PPC specialists who don't really know how Google Ads work. They'll know how to turn things on. They'll know how to accept recommendations. They'll know how to let the system write more ads, expand more targeting, and find more conversions. But they won't understand what the system is optimizing towards, what inputs is missing, or how Google Ads as a whole works. And that's going to be a real risk. The risk isn't that Google writes the ads. It's that you as a specialist, as somebody who is supposed to know this, stop understanding what you can still control, just like we saw with smart bidding. A lot of people will call that black box when it's nothing but a black box. And this is why I keep coming back to smart bidding. Not because this is a bidding video, but it's the closest preview of what's going to happen when Google moves a core skill, bidding, behind an algorithm, which is dead. It wasn't that we learned that algorithms are bad or we don't have a job anymore. The lesson definitely wasn't that we should just trust what it's doing. The lesson was that in order to win with smart bidding and this new world of doing bidding, it was to learn how to work it. The people who understood the auction, the people who understood conversion lag, the people who understood budget constraints, target changes, understood when the system needed more time, more freedom, or when you needed to limit it. That's the skill that you learn with smart bidding, and that's the skill you need now. Just apply it to all of Google Ads. Google is moving away from advertiser-written ads and keywords and all that stuff to more like system-assembled ads. I don't know how to explain it more, but where you give it some directions and some instructions, and then it knows what to do. That means that in order to win in this game and to be excellent in the future, you need to master structure, inputs, guardrails, overrides, and measurement. That's the job that we need to discuss, because we already know from shopping and dynamic search ad campaigns that we don't need to give Google keywords to be effective. We also know that the ads in shopping work well, even if we just give it the overall input. So I think that's proof enough that there is a world where AI personalizing ads to match the individual search term will be better than whatever we can do. The job then becomes about 5 different things. The number one thing is input. Again, a lot of my job today is about changing the inputs in different measurements based on what's going on in the business. I'm going to lower the ROAS target to tell the system to push more. I will provide a negative seasonal bid adjustment because the past performance we saw in the last few weeks is not equal to the future performance, so I need you to taper down a little bit. If I enable broad match, I'm telling the system, discover new auctions. All of this can, in the future, be done with just instructions to the AI, not by lowering the target. I say push more. And this is where I think briefs become so much more important as an evolving entity, something you constantly talk about, something you constantly update. Not that you create a campaign, you provide a brief and that's it, but you have a living document that you work with the AI, just as if a client works with me, they'll tell me our margins are shrinking and this is what's happening in Meta, this is what's happening here, and that I then move into actions in Google Ads. That is what's becoming the future of Google Ads. You're going to tell it, hey, our sale is ending in 4 days. We've expanded our last sales date by 2 days. We now have new stock that has landed, and this is how much we believe in it. Our 2 bestsellers are out of stock for 3 weeks. Let's switch spend around. Our margins have changed, so now they're better. We want to push category A, but we don't want to push category B, etc., 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 etc. That's the future of campaign management. That's the input that you're supposed to be giving. The second part is structure. So grouping audiences, products, and targets, that's going to be more and more important. Sending all your products into an AI and just ask it to equally weigh them all, is this dumb? Yes, I have 10K of products, but what if 80% of your revenue is from 30% of the product? So the question more becomes, what structure gives the system the right learning environment? That's very similar to what we're already doing with campaign segmentation. Bestseller versus unprofitable campaign segmentation is the best proxy for this. We want to be more aggressive on bestsellers, and we want to limit losses on products proven to be unprofitable. In the future, maybe we don't need to build as many campaigns to do that. Maybe we just tell the AI, spend 5% of our shopping budget on unprofitable products, identify when they perform better. The thinking is exactly the same. You still need to know which products matter, what audiences matter, what targets matter, and what a system should be allowed to explore. But we don't need to do it anymore with some kind of complex campaign structure. And we've seen this constantly over the last 15 years, from having mobile-only campaigns to all these kind of things that we've done over the years. Simplified, better and better instructions. And I think we're seeing that with some of the new things that came out of Google Marketing Live too, like the product value adjustments that was just announced. The third part of the job is guardrails. Again, brand safety and brand guardrails is the part of any ad agency. But if Google's writing more of the ad, then you need to be very clear what it should and should not say. Guardrails, in my opinion, is not just brand safety. It's also what I consider audience identification. So one of my clients sells jewelry for men. For men is the most important part here, because we want to make sure that it doesn't start going into engagement ring. We don't bid for bracelets. We bid for men's bracelets. It's dumb to bid for bracelets because 98% of the searches that are bracelets are women. Yes, we can audience demographic and I'll come after you, but it's not worth it. We should just not bid for it. Another client of mine sells stand-up paddleboards, primarily focused on beginners. Broadmatch and AMAX go crazy with expanding over to all kinds of things and write stupid things. Clarifying the audience here is so important. It's not a small thing to tell it, hey, this is for beginners. We focus on stability. We focus on this and this and this, and you can have your family on an entire board and stuff like that. That's the difference between letting the system chase down every single A/B test to get the data to tell you what works, to go, hey, no, stay within these rails, stay within this box, stay here. We're not going to define what's inside the box. Just like smart bidding. I don't tell it what to bid for this search term, but I'm kind of telling it which box to stay within. And then it knows how to navigate that. That's going to be the job. The fourth part of the job is knowing when and how to override. Again, it's like smart bidding. Want to tell us what's happening, tell it when things are changing, tell it when something is dumb, and give it some limits. A lot of the things we do today are a proxy for what I listed above. So again, if we have a negative SBA after a sale, which is what I actually mean is that the sale ends on Monday, go back to normal. That's what I'm trying to do. I hate this whole thing with balancing and figuring out what it's to get the right bids after it's supposed to go back to normal. I just want it to go back to normal. So there's a bunch of these like examples where that's going to be our job, not because the buttons disappear, but this is still important. We just tell an AI that we want this instead of trying to click buttons and make it happen. And the fifth job, if I look back 10 years, is measurement. So the job has moved very much away from being technical to being more savvy around measurement and connecting business KPIs with the channel KPIs. And I think this is going to continue. Your value is going to be in how aggressive should you bid? When should you hold back? When should you balance spend and top versus bottom funnel campaigns? This is where a lot of us will get caught, because that's not innately in all of us. Because if Google writes the ads, expands targeting, creates more personalized results, and you keep trying to say, but I want to click those buttons, and you haven't replaced that work you used to do with something else that provides value, then you probably don't provide that much value. Just if you try to say that half your job today is bidding, it's not. Like, it's a super important part, but it takes up maybe 5 to 20% depending on the account. So measurement becomes a lot more important. There's one big learning I think it's important that Google continues to learn from, and it's the PMax rollout. Originally, Google locked up PMax in a one-size-fits-all campaign type that didn't create the best results for all advertisers. It just created very similar results for everybody else. There's gotten a lot more transparency and controls into PMax, and I hope Google continue this, because I think that that's what we need to go over to. I would hate it if all the inputs and transparency and controls were taken away as we moved over to this AI world, because I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think AI should just be willy-nilly A/B testing all kinds of different things, because it will do the wrong things. I want to give it a box to work in. I don't have to click buttons. Like, I don't have to decide what the CPC for the search term is supposed to be. I just want to give it the box. So in my opinion, if you cling on to the old way of doing things as we move over to this, it'll be like clinging on to manual bidding, because you don't know how to optimize smart bidding. In all essence of all this, search ads, in my opinion, it's not going to die. It's not going to go away. It's not going to get killed by ChatGPT. But paid search strategy is where the whole work is going to be. And the old workflow is not going to be the same thing as the new. What do you think about this future I try to paint here? Do you think that will be good? Will be bad? Do you disagree completely? Let me know in the comment section.